This is our tripping cabin. We've done that there multiple times. But this man, we're all like, is this a serial killer in the back of our heads? Because we're in the middle of nowhere and it's this creepy guy and he shows up and ends up having a chainsaw in his trunk, which was like so scary to us at the time because we were like, oh my God, this is about to be like a horror film.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Riley.
And I'm Macie. And you're listening to Two Girls, One Joint.
Welcome back to Two Girls, One Joint.
It's us again.
It's us again.
Surprise. Welcome in. Welcome to the show. We have a good one lined up for you guys today.
Yep.
And the topic of discussion today is going to be drugs, the good kind, the psychedelic ones.
Psychedelic drugs.
Huge shout out to psychedelic drugs. Nothing wrong with them whatsoever.
Now, if this topic makes you feel uncomfortable, this episode is to either make you open your eyes and make you feel more comfortable with this sort of concept, or you need to log off.
Yeah, if you're our mom or our grandma,
log off.
Politely, this might not be the one for you.
Yeah, this is not the episode.
I'm not going to beat around the bush about it. Just shut it down.
Yeah, shut down your podcast. This is Two Girls, One Joint. We're being real. We're being authentic.
Uncut.
And we're telling our stories, but for legal purposes, this is all a fucking joke.
Yeah, for legal purposes, this is all an act of fiction.
Yeah.
So,
let's get into it.
So, psychedelic drugs, you know, you got your heavy hitters. You got psilocybin. You got LSD, a few of my favorites.
Yeah. Then you've got like the more hardcore ones.
Right.
Which, including ayahuasca, DMT. DMT, kind of the same idea. Ayahuasca is just kind of like...
Pretty sure DMT is the active, psychoactive in ayahuasca. Anyways, we are big fans.
We are big fans. And
it's kind of a journey. I feel like everything... So I'm the younger sister, but all of like this kind of stuff are things that I introduced Riley to, which is funny.
Yeah, that is very funny. And
every time Riley's ever tripped, I've been there.
Yeah. And
like her little guide. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again.
No, it's okay.
I'm putting this out for now.
And at first, when Macie was going into this sort of realm, I can admit that I was very judgmental and honestly not very nice to Macie.
There were different times. We didn't know, she didn't know.
I didn't know. And, like I have a hope for any of you listening that see this subject and come at it with judgment or with stigma, that you could maybe listen to this podcast and transform your mindset in the way that I did.
Yeah. It's becoming a lot more normalized, I feel like, especially psilocybin. Shrooms are being decriminalized more and more as the days pass on, which I think is really cool. And I think that everybody in the world should try shrooms. Even if you think it's not for you, maybe you fucking should try.
You should try. If you think it's not for you, you try them, your mind might be open to like a very different thing than you've ever experienced.
And I feel like if you are someone that's done psychedelic drugs, I feel that it's very indicative of kind of what your personality is going to be. Like, I don't know, something in you kind of like changes whenever you try that sort of thing, and changes for the better. I think it's a lens that everybody should look through at least once in their life. I love it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And it's interesting to get into the concept of like whether these are beneficial or not. And I think that comes down to how you utilize them. You can either utilize these with intention and in purpose and with purpose and go into doing these at a safe level, at a level that you're comfortable with. Always going low and slow with your journey, those type of things. Or you can take them and absolutely trip balls.
And both of those are okay. I like to say that there's two types of people that do psychedelic drugs. There's people that take them to look within and kind of go on their human like just like
journey.
A spiritual journey. And then there's people that take them, sorry, I got the hiccups, that take them and just really like tripping hard and having fun. And I've been both of those people before.
I have only been one of those people.
Riley loves a good journey within.
I love a good journey within. I'm a very spiritual human, and these have really allowed me to discover like who I am as a human, and like see all of these belief systems that I've had and that I've been raised on and that humanity is raised on. And they've really allowed me to like take a step back and analyze like who I am and what I believe that this human experience is truly about. So I'm very grateful for access to these. However, Macie has a very different experience from me. She really likes to send it.
I love to send it. I'm a big supporter of low and slow. It's just never been something that I've personally practiced, but I do think it's important. I do think it's important, but sometimes with psychedelics, if it's your first time, I don't even really think you should ease into it. Like if you're going to do it, fucking do it.
Yeah,
that's what I
she
say.
Always preached to me.
That's what I always told Riley.
Like went crazy and like did it at heavy hitter amounts, but
I've done some heavy hitter amounts, but I've also done some, someone on the lower scale.
Yeah.
Not as fun, but still fun.
Yeah. What was your very first time like, Macie?
The very first time I ever tried psychedelic drugs, I ate an eighth of shrooms. I was going to start with just a gram, but the person that I was with gave me the same advice and said, if you're going to do it, don't just tiptoe into it. Like for your first time, if you want to trip, just make sure you take enough to do it. You know what I mean? That's my advice. But I did shrooms in a college dorm. I think I might have told this story on another podcast before, but I took an eighth of shrooms. I wasn't feeling it. About an hour in, I was sitting on the floor and my roommate had a cat named Finny, and I backed up to like lean my back against the bed, and I accidentally hit Finny with my arm, and I was like, oh, sorry, Finny. And he said, no, you're good. And from that point forward, I was just blasted off into a really, really wonderful experience. At one point, I was eating food on the floor with my hands.
Did you learn any lessons during this?
No, I didn't learn any lessons. Okay. Just that I really enjoyed it. I haven't really, I've taken psychedelics before with the intention of kind of looking within and doing some self-work and things like that, but not nearly as fun as just walking around. And it's almost, and people ask me a lot, like, to try to describe it. It's really hard to describe to someone that doesn't understand. But the best way that I can describe it is you feel like a kid and you're like experiencing everything for the first time. Like it's, I don't know. It's like everything that
That's
you see, it feels like it's your first time seeing it. Like you could pick up a roll of toilet paper and you're like, whoa, and you're like looking at it from all different angles, and just everything about it just feels so exciting and new. And there's also different levels to it. I mean,
there are.
Yeah, there's, you can get to the point and take enough where you're having full-blown visual hallucinations, but you can also go on the lower end to where it's kind of comparable to the high, like a very, very strong cannabis high. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's levels to it. I love it.
I will say, like, no time I've ever experimented with these or have done these have I had a scary. Like, I have never been. Knock on wood. Yeah, knock on wood. I've heard some stories from other people, and like, I have had scaries before with marijuana and with weed at high doses, but I have actually never had a scary experience with these type of drugs.
The thing about psychedelics is when they're good, they're very good, but when they're bad, they're terrible.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot to go through a bad part of a trip. That almost happened to Riley and I one time. We were at our friend's cabin. Oh my God. Are
we really going to tell these on our podcast?
I know, it feels crazy. You weren't tripping, were you?
No, Riley was the designated trip sitter.
Riley was the designated trip
time.
sitter. This was before she kind of started dabbling in the arts. But it was me and all of our girlfriends and Riley's. So we were in this old cabin, right? It was just a great time. We were in the middle of nowhere. Everybody was having a blast. And we were playing cards. And Riley's dog walks over. And she had something in her mouth. And my friend grabbed it out of her mouth and said, "What's this?" And we all looked and realized that it was a block of rat poison that she had found behind the cabinet at the cabin. And we were 2 hours away from any vet, anything, let alone a vet.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so we're all coming up on this trip and, really struggling to, try to figure out what we're going to do. And everything was okay. We ended up
into the yard.
Thank God there was hydrogen peroxide of all things under the sink in the bathroom. So we made her drink that. She started throwing up chunks of rat poison. She lived through it. It was terrible. That's the only time that I've been close to really having a bad spiral.
Yeah.
Actually, during this same trip, a really bad storm came outside and a tree fell literally a foot away from my friend's car. It would have smashed her car. And that was almost bad. And then this random man showed up. I mean, leave it to West Virginia. There's always somebody going to pull up and try to help you out. And he pulls up and we're all just like tripping so hard. And we're like, oh my God, does he know?
I'm the only one that's sober during this time. And I'm like, does he know? Does he know?
We're
and
all
of course
thinking,
he doesn't know. He's not going to pull up and be like, wow, all these girls are on fucking LSD.
Right, exactly. But this is a
different time though, because Rue's time was the shrooms. And then this time was with all of our girls. This is our tripping cabin.
We've done that there multiple times. But this man, we're all like, is this a serial killer in the back of our heads? Because we're in the middle of nowhere and it's this creepy guy and he shows up and ends up having a chainsaw in his trunk, which was like so scary to us at the time because we were like, oh my God, this is about to be like a horror film.
Yeah.
But yeah, he takes out his chainsaw, cuts the tree up into little bits and
so we can leave.
Yeah, and then he rolls them away and he's like, yeah, you girls enjoy your evening and drives off. And
then on the same day, we were all running around and things. And then I go and I trip. Very clumsy girl.
Yeah, Riley tripped and fell and literally her neck.
I almost died.
My friend had Crocs on and she was standing on top of this cinder block and Riley tripped and her neck would have went directly onto her fucking throat.
My throat
would have went directly onto this cinder block, but she ended up my friend's Croc was the bumper.
Yeah,
that saved Riley's life. We would have been done. Like you guys should have seen the fall. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But honestly, those are the only times that my trip has almost went south for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been smooth sailing.
Yeah, Florida even.
What about Florida?
When you thought that your skin was roasting?
When I thought I was a meat sock?
Yeah.
Yeah, like me and Riley, first time.
Another story. This is actually this. Well, maybe we should come back to that.
Circle back to the meat sock.
Yeah, we'll circle back to the meat sock. Let's go into another story of my very first time.
Yeah.
This is my very first time doing any type of psychedelic drug ever. And I have decided I did decide that I was going to take LSD during our trip to Iceland.
Yeah, we went to Iceland. Again, everything that we're saying is an act of fiction, so not to be taken seriously. But we were flying to Iceland and we all knew that we wanted to do an LSD trip while we were out there and see the Northern Lights, things like that.
Yeah.
So we had it in our heads that we were going to get, anytime we'd ever done acid, it was on cardstock paper, like dripped onto cardstock paper.
Yeah.
It's the classic way, just like little stamps you put on your tongue. So we were like, we can do this, no problem. We're just going to press it between the pages of a book and put it in our carry-on.
Yeah.
And so everything was fine. And that morning on our way to the airport, we stopped to pick it up from our friend. And turns out it was dropped
onto sugar
cubes. The acid was dropped onto sugar cubes. And we were like, fuck, like totally threw a wrench in our plans. And we were so worried about flying, as we should have been. Yeah. Anyway.
We were worried about flying.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight.
Yeah. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
But
this was risky behavior.
Right. Risky behavior. But our friend had a genius idea to stop at Sheetz and get a thing of the ice cubes gum, like the square ice cubes gum, which looks exactly like a sugar cube. So we emptied like 5 pieces out, put the sugar cubes in, threw it in a check bag. Easy breezy.
Easy breezy, beautiful.
It was perfect. And we were so stressed about it, but we had nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And I had done it a good bit of times beforehand, but this was Riley's first time. And
I was a bit nervous.
It ended up being hands down the strongest LSD that I had ever done. And I couldn't believe that the strongest time I had ever done it was Riley's first time ever doing it. And I just kept looking at her during it and thinking, wow, this girl is Paul Bunyan right now.
I was Paul Bunyan.
She was.
It was such a wonderful, wonderful, perfect, beautiful experience, though. And I just I can't believe that I get to say that the first time that I experienced something like that was I got to experience it under the Northern Lights, which was in Iceland.
I'm so jealous because my first time was in a college dorm room. Riley's is in another country looking at, something that's on a lot of people's bucket list. Yeah, so I was really happy. Riley's husband, unfortunately, had a not so good experience.
My husband saw the nun in our kitchen.
Yeah, he saw a nun walk across the kitchen. Oh my God. And it was just a crazy experience. It really was
for him, but I loved it. We went outside and it was like this blizzard, like I've never experienced.
It was like negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit, but you couldn't even feel it. You were like a kid. Like, you know how when you're a kid and you go out to play in the snow, you're just not affected by the cold whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's how it was. Like we were all outside, terrible weather, but we were running around like a bunch of kids on a snow day.
The wind was so strong that you could throw your arms out.
Yeah, you could lean back into the wind and it would keep you propped up. Oh my God, it was so much fun.
It was so cool. And it was just such a wonderful experience to have alongside of my friends and my sister and my husband. It was it was
the best.
Perfect. Yeah.
It was the best.
I couldn't think of a better first experience for me on something like that. I'm not really a human that has chosen to do these repeatedly. I've always kind of done these type of drugs with intention, which I feel is very Riley. Mm-hmm. But I'm lucky to say that every single time that I've gotten to experience something like this, it's been transformative for me.
Definitely.
So yeah.
It made me who I am.
It
literally did. I mean,
I'm a more conscious human being.
Exactly. And I just have so much, you get into this mindset of everything's so much deeper. I don't know. It just hands down, without a doubt, made me enjoy and appreciate my life more.
Yeah.
I can say that.
It gives you 100%. Purpose. It feels truly, for the longest time, I became well, not for the longest time, but in my transition, from heavy Christianity, honestly, I'll just fucking get into this. From heavy Christianity, we
were very religious when we were growing up.
Very, very religious. I wanted to be a missionary when I graduated high school, if that gives you guys any sort of concept of things. And then I continue on this journey of self-knowing and trying to understand what my purpose is outside of this, with outside of religion, honestly, because all this time I thought this was it for me. I was going to live for this one entity and all of those things. But
then you start asking questions.
Then I started asking questions, which felt very dirty and oh my God, I'm going to hell in the beginning. But as I asked questions, somehow I gained even more of a purpose. I gained more of a connection to who I am spiritually and who we all are spiritually. And because of these type of drugs,
I feel dirty even calling them drugs.
I know. Mind-altering substances.
Right.
Because these truly like changed my life and changed my mindset. And it was because it was done with intention. Like, not to say that these can't be overused. Like, I think that we definitely need to clarify that if you have an extreme mental health issue or mental health disorder, this could go one way or another for you. And that's proven. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes it goes really great for you and you get these things, you find purpose and you, everything makes sense again and all of those things. But also it could make it worse for you if
psychosis.
Yeah,
you do have to be
possible.
Careful. The way it was described to me was whenever you do a psychedelics, it opens a door. And if you do it too many times, eventually the door is not going to shut all the way when you're done. So it's so possible to overdo this kind of stuff. And, you're right. I mean, it's fun to send it and it's fun to do whatever, but there comes a time where it's not. You got to be intentional about it.
Yeah, intention is so key with these. And, preparation is also key. Like, it's all about examining who you are and where you are in your life. Mm-hmm. Like, I've heard stories where people are down the worst they've ever been and have done something like this and it's changed everything for them. But I've also heard it on the other end.
Right.
Where it's
you
made
can
it
hear
worse.
Like your mental health is not good. You're having a lot of anxiety and you think that it's going to help that. And then you take it and those anxieties and things, it's a mirror. Like, you do psychedelics and it's a mirror and it shows you, it will dig up stuff that you don't want to dig up. Like, if you do enough and you sit with yourself, it's going to make you confront your demons sometimes, which really sucks.
Which
but
is
it's
healing.
good.
It's healing for some people and for others.
But if you allow it to be, you have to allow it.
You have to allow it to be. For others who aren't prepared for it, like, sometimes that can be really intense for them and not have such a positive effect. But yeah, I just want to say, like, these can be beneficial. Like, it's been proven to be beneficial. That's why we're seeing states across, like, some states across America, like, start to legalize these things for medicinal purposes.
I can absolutely see, like, if someone was deeply depressed with life, I mean, I think, like, I want my mom, not that she's deeply depressed with life, but I think that there are so many people that, oh my God, sometimes I'm going to be like, you need to eat shrooms and walk outside.
Yeah.
And everything will change.
If grandpa had just a nice dose and he loves being outside. He loves walking in the outdoors. Woods. Like, if he just took a big fat dose and went outside and walked around and, like, went internal, I really think that he could process things that he might not have even, like,
just
thought
gain
about
a new
before.
Appreciation for life. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it opens this sort of lens that, like, without it, it's not opened. Like, I can instantly, like, I can talk to another human and instantly know if that sort of lens has been opened for them.
Yeah, it's so
easy
just,
to
like,
tell.
You either have it or you don't. Like, and I feel like people that have never, I don't know, it's so hard to describe. You don't know it unless you know it. Mm-hmm. But
that's true.
It is true.
It's true. It's such a special thing that we have access to as, like, humans. Like, they have to be here for a reason. I think, like, on an evolutionary scale, these type of drugs could be something that's, like, really interesting to look at. Because, like, I always wondered when you exit religion and you start to think about life and,
you start to get real.
And you start to get real. And you think about, like, human evolution. Psychedelic drugs really make a lot of sense when it comes to, like, that jump in consciousness.
Have you heard of the stoned ape theory?
I have.
Basically saying that when we were in our Neanderthal period, how we would obviously forage all of our food and things like that, how we were repeatedly eating mushrooms, and that eventually that just set into place on an evolutionary scale that we had this massive jump in consciousness. And I could see that.
It makes so much sense. Like once you try these sort of things, like I feel like my conscious state and like my self-awareness and my belief systems have truly been altered by like the way that this sort of substance has allowed me to take a step back and analyze life through a lens that wasn't possible before. And I could see where like Homo sapiens could have jumped from being survivalists to thinkers.
Yeah, when we started using tools, and the rest is fucking history.
And now here we are building skyscrapers. Building skyscrapers and inventing AI. What a beautiful, interesting thing.
I know.
Like, although I think that sometimes humans will be like the root of their own detriment. You know, like they'll be the reason behind our extinction. It's so interesting to me that we have reached this level of intelligence and this level of consciousness potentially just on our own, like on this evolutionary scale, which I think is like so incredibly interesting. Like there's other theories obviously, but if this was the one, like what an amazing
thing. It checks out.
It does.
It really does check out.
It checks out. It makes me wonder, like, what if we gave, like, apes some shrooms and we watched them evolve?
Surely someone's done that.
I don't know, dude.
Surely someone's given an ape a hit of LSD.
Would that be unethical?
No.
That's such a Macie thing. I feel like it would probably be unethical, but in the name of, like, realization and in the name of discovery... Like, maybe we should try it.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, like there's lots of emotionally intelligent animals and mammals out there. But is there any animal out there building skyscrapers? No. So there has to be something. There's something. Whether it's fucking God. Whether it's us consuming psychedelics and doing an evolutionary jump and a conscious jump. Or maybe we fucked on some aliens.
We could have fucked on aliens.
Yeah. Homo sapiens meet aliens.
Maybe all of the above.
Yeah. I guess what we're getting to is these...
psychedelics are awesome is what we're getting to.
And we want to tell like a couple more funny stories.
I was going to say, I feel like I have so many good tripping stories.
All right, go for it, Macie. Story 1 or story 2,
one of my favorites. So Riley and I were going to do LSD on the beach together one time in Florida. We were so excited. I mean, so excited. And we packed everything we needed. And we headed out. We set up our little blanket, our little station with our snacks.
Yeah, and you guys know how I feel about a sunset. And floating in the water.
I really love floating in the water.
Let alone on LSD.
Right. We were so excited. And I had our 2 tabs of acid and a piece of tin foil, like a folded up piece of tin foil. And we sat down and I opened the tin foil and a gust of wind blew our 2 tabs of acid away. Like we were so depressed and we were looking everywhere. Like we had planned our whole day around this, got everything perfectly, everything we needed.
The food, everything,
the
our
snack,
lunch,
the
sunscreen.
The sunscreen. We were set up and the wind blew the acid away and we were like, we were so bummed.
Yeah, like, we were like, maybe that's a sign.
Yeah, though. Like maybe we shouldn't have done it. So we sat out there for maybe like 30 more minutes and they were like, you know, maybe today's not the day. And we started to pack up our things. And when we were walking out back to our car, I looked down and found the fucking acid.
Which is crazy.
Which is like the chances of that are literally 1 in a zillion. And it wasn't even close to our blanket.
No, it was far away.
Yeah. And I'm walking. I couldn't believe it. Like I genuinely could not believe it. And we walked over and I looked down and I said, oh my God, Riley, it was meant to be.
Yeah. And we said, zoink.
Yeah, we said immediately we were, oh my God, it was like the best thing.
It was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had.
We ran back and we sat our little station back up, got everything spread out, and had the best day ever.
It was so beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
Like, I have never experienced
That's when I thought it was a meat sock.
Yeah, Macie's over there feeling like
Riley's like gazing upon the ocean, and she has tears running down her face because she's just so enamored by the human experience. And you look over and I'm standing there going, I'm literally a sock of meat. That's so us. That's like,
it is. It's so us.
Yeah, I was like looking at, because I had a bathing suit on, and I was like looking at my legs, and I was thinking, I'm literally just a meat sleeve. That was the best day.
It was the best day. It honestly was.
Despite the meat sleeve realization that I had.
You know, like how when the sun sets and the beach turns purple.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, there's this, I'm going to get into it. There's this thing, color theory.
It's
color theory. I'm super into it. Nerdy thing about me. But there's this portion of color theory called color consistency. Okay. And we know for a fact, the theory says, we know for a fact that all color is created by light. You know, the prismatic theory, all of those things. The sun shines through this and it creates a rainbow. And that's why we know colors and we see colors. So therefore, light equals color. Mm-hmm. This means that as lighting changes, in fact, color also changes. So the world around you is actually a chameleon. Like, sand isn't actually tan all the time. It's tan during the daylight, versus at sunset when the sun's hitting it, it's purple and pink. And that is for a fact. And when you start looking at life through that sort of lens,
so at nighttime is sand black?
Yes, for a fact, according to this theory.
I love that.
And when you look at life through this lens of like, oh my God, things are constantly shifting and changing. Like, oh, what a magical fucking experience.
I know, I love that.
It's perfect and beautiful. And I knew about this theory and was always like enamored by it. And then during this time, the sun was setting and the whole world just turned purple.
Looked like Barbie's Swan Lake.
Barbie Swan Lake for sure.
Swan Lake vibes.
Like the sand was like this bright purple and everything just seemed like so unreal and like alien-like. And it was just so beautiful. And I would look around and there were
yellow flowers.
There were yellow flowers coming out of this, the purple,
that
was a complementary color.
It was nuts. That was one of the best trips ever.
Yeah, yellow flowers and yellow umbrellas. With the purple.
And a meat sleeve.
And Macie's meat sleeve out there just trying to figure its way through the world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was perfect.
We were trying to catch seagulls and shit. It was so much fun.
Yeah, catching crabs.
But yeah, I really recommend tripping on the beach.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things.
For sure. Maybe not.
That should really put it all into perspective for you.
Yeah, meat sleeve or not. Like, if it's 90 degrees, maybe wait until it starts to cool down.
Yeah.
Or else you'll look at your body and being like, wow, I'm cooking.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like actually cooking.
You are.
You actually are cooking, like literally.
And bring lots of water.
Yeah, lots of water. That's important. Maybe a couple snacks. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing. But yeah, that was the last time I ever did. I've only done it 2 different times, and they were both extremely special and important in my personal evolution of consciousness and my being of who Riley Queen is today.
Love that. Yeah, it's made me who I am. Yeah. I mean, my parents always say, like, I'm a very carefree person.
You are.
I I'm a very...
You don't think that far into it.
Yeah, I don't think that far into it. Every day's a new day for me. I don't let a lot of stuff bother me. And my mom is always like, Macie, I'm so jealous of how you're able to have such a carefree outlook. And but honestly, dude, that's like, I feel like it's a huge attributing factor is me doing psychedelics. And like, I've always been that way, but it just amplified it so much. Like, I'm like, why would you ever hold on to a single thought? Like,
so tell me why do you think you feel that way? Because
I don't know.
This?
It's just like, life is just so beautiful. I don't know.
Maybe it's not that serious.
Yeah, it's not that serious. We're all so brainwashed by this social structure and just this construct that we all have throughout our day. And in the end, it doesn't fucking matter.
We're just meat sacks.
All that matters, we're just meat sleeves. We're all just meat socks, number one. And number two, the only thing that matters is walking around outside. I'm serious.
The only thing that matters is that you are down here as a human, which what are the fucking chances?
Right,
who knows?
Exactly.
But you are here and there are so many things put on this earth for you to experience. And what if we were here just to experience the utmost human experience?
I heard the other day. Yeah.
Colors, the beach, anything that you
can think
of. A little movie.
Yeah.
Love.
I heard this thing the other
Sex.
day. Sex.
Sex.
Don't let that get by you. But I heard the other day this thing that was like, you die twice, okay? There's the first one is when you actually die, when your heart stops beating and you leave the astral plane. And the second time is when someone speaks your name for the last time. Like, there is a point on this timeline that literally you will have been gone long enough to where nobody remembers you. You're not mentioned again. You're not remembered again by your future, family, generations, and things like that. So what the hell? It does not matter. It does not matter. Like, you have to not let things get to you, because you have just such a precious time here. Why would you spend that time, that magical time, worried about your appearance or worried about, your, will I succeed? Will I have enough money for this? Will this person like me? Did I say something weird? There's no reason. And that just takes away so much from your quality of life when you could literally just be bulling.
You could just
enjoying.
Life is about living.
Every day is an oyster for joy and connection and laughter and hope and love.
What a wonderful thing.
I love it, dude. I love my life.
I
literally love being alive. I'm having so much fun. It's so much fun. I can't imagine. Anything. And yeah, there are days that I don't that I'll be grumpy, or something will happen to me and piss me off, or I'll have a bad lunch. But
your lunch.
I hate a bad lunch. That shit will ruin my day. But it's so, this opportunity is just so rich. Every day is just so rich in joy if you're able to
see it.
If you're able to see it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're getting to here. It's
yeah.
What you choose to experience in this life is completely up to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to be a little brave. Sometimes you got to fucking go against the stigma.
It's a mindset.
It's all a mindset. Your mindset's capable of molding matter.
Yeah, and there can be someone with a million reasons to be happy and they're still grumpy and pissed, or you can have someone with a million reasons to be grumpy and pissed and they're still happy. And it's everything's just a mindset, so you might as well just
live it.
Just live it.
So we met this couple not too long ago, and honestly they were very transformative for me. They really inspired me.
They just came into the store one day. They had just moved here from Colorado, I want to say, this couple.
Yeah, but from Colorado, they've moved everywhere and have done anything. Yeah, kind of gypsy vibes. And it was so interesting talking to them because they, in their older lives, in their older portion of their human time span, they had just gotten into psychedelics, and they actually taught Macie and I how to grow mushrooms on our own and taught us a lot of lessons in a very short period of time.
Yeah, they were only in our lives for less than a year. Yeah. 6 months maybe. But we just learned so much from them, and the man in particular just had such a beautiful outlook on life.
Yeah.
And he just was just radiating love in every capacity, and taught us how to grow shrooms. he literally told us, which this cracks me up, but he told us that he was tripping outside in the woods and that a mosquito landed on him, and he said he just sat there and watched the mosquito drink his blood.
Yeah.
And just thought like, wow, I'm so glad to be just one small sacrifice for me is giving this animal
nourishment.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, because I would immediately fucking swat it and kill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was just like overjoyed to be able to recognize like, wow, you know, this is, yeah, it stings a little bit, but like this, I'm transferring my energy to this being to be able to keep. And I was like, whoa, like, we all need to be like that.
Yeah. He's
not that I think, you know, not specifically towards mosquitoes, but just the outlook on life.
Right. And they reminded me that like life is long. Like they had just like became onto this mindset.
Yeah, like they used to be like a lawyer, and I want to say like forget what he had done.
It's like blue collar vibes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like engineering.
So they had this whole first part of their lives where they were married, divorced, all of this, and then oh my God.
And now they are humans that are understanding a level of this existence that they probably couldn't have even comprehended at our age, you know, and they had just became that at such an older age. I'm talking like 60s.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's so inspirational because life can go a million different directions and that's totally okay. Like we're the captain of this ship, dude.
I know.
And I think that that's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
And like you sit and think about how much you yourself have changed over the period, like even in the last 10 years. I mean, I know I'm young. I was 15 10 years ago, but
yeah,
still, it's like, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Anything can happen.
It's never too late to, you know, you're the pilot of your own life.
Mm-hmm. It's what a cool thing.
Yeah.
And life really is about living.
Yeah, that's why everybody should do psychedelics.
Yeah, I think that that's what we're getting to. I mean, you don't have to, but
yeah, damn. You don't have to do it to achieve that understanding, but it just like opens a whole new lens for you. It's like adding a whole new perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So yeah,
highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you want to do it to it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Peace.